A couple of recent reports from was posted on Zero Hedge. Both of these articles talk about Jeff Bezos, his Amazon store. They have a new plan which has been described as it's about to disrupt the traditional grocery retail model, is what people are saying. It's also going to get thousands of grocery store cashiers fired, and that sounds like a fairly could be a low estimate actually, with the way that this plan is being described. And other events going on, Whole Foods continues to have a short-term slash of on some prices, which I think is part of a plan to undermine other grocery retailers. You have a number of other grocers have had their stocks fall through the last several weeks since Jeff Bezos acquired Whole Foods. So even if you don't shop there now, if you're going to a mainstream grocery retailer, Whole Foods may be one of your only options, as some of these other grocery stores continue to suffer and eventually close potentially. This is what an Amazon store may look like. This is being introduced in one Amazon store location. It's expected that it will be rolled out in Whole Foods as well, which is also owned by Jeff Bezos now. Basically, the store works that a customer will walk in, pick up what they want, and then walk out without interacting without any staff. They have to sign into an application. They have some combination of AI technology that follows the customer's movements throughout the store. They track where you're moving, what items you're taking, and you walk out of the store. It automatically charges you without interacting again with any staff. So they're saying thousands of grocery store employees, cashiers, could be fired over this. I think many more than that, tens of thousands, if you are counting just Whole Foods alone, probably. And again, this may impact other grocers as this continues to roll out. The concept of the store is being dubbed Amazon Go. There is a link, I believe, in the article that's linked in the description of this video to Amazon, basically a commercial for the project. They're obviously painting it as something positive, but there's some serious negatives that will come along with this as well. The second article talks a little bit more broadly about Jeff Bezos, some of his other business moves, and why this should be worrying. I've spent quite a bit of time talking about Jeff Bezos myself. Of course, he took a $600 million contract with the CIA back in 2013 for cloud computing. He's also hired John Podesta, the former campaign chairman for Hillary Clinton, to work at the Washington Post after acquiring that paper. This second article, they actually have a number of excerpts from other articles on this topic. One from Caitlin Johnstone points out a few of the issues on this topic. Reads, Jeff Bezos, who has used his business prowess to become the wealthiest person in the world, did not purchase the Washington Post in 2013 because he was expecting newspapers to make a profitable comeback. That did not happen. That's not what his reason was for acquiring this. Caitlin Johnstone argues that what instead happened is that the world's richest plutocrat, Jeff Bezos, officially on record the richest person in the world as far as the public is told. She believes that he realized that he needed a mouthpiece. The Washington Post ended up being this mouthpiece to manufacture public support for the neoliberal corporatist establishment that he is building his empire upon. This is why the Washington Post ran 16 smear pieces on Bernie Sanders. This is what this author believes, Caitlin Johnstone. They ran 16 smear pieces in the span of 16 hours at the hottest point in the Democratic presidential primary battle. Amazon is a multi-trillion-dollar monopoly hiding in plain sight. Stacy Mitchell, she's the co-director of Institute for Local Self-Reliance, wrote that Amazon is trying to control the underlying infrastructure of the economy. Finally, she points out, this is important, Bezos continues to get cozier and cozier with the U.S. power establishment while he's growing this monopoly, the Washington Post. In the media, of course, Amazon takes one of every $2, I believe, that is through online transactions is done through Amazon. So any sort of online transaction, Bezos has huge control over that. The media and the Washington Post and their affiliates. Now, Whole Foods also adding to this monopoly. At the same time, he's getting cozy with the U.S. power establishment as this empire grows. He's kicked off. He kicked WikiLeaks off of Amazon servers in 2010. She points out he's also scored this $600 million contract with the CIA in 2013. He's joined a Pentagon advisory board in 2016. He's also hung out with the Defense Secretary in August, and he's spent nearly $10 million just this year lobbying the federal government, which is likely what led, she believes, to an NDAA amendment gifting Amazon a $54 billion market it's expected to dominate as a supplier to the Pentagon. So he's basically got this deal with the Pentagon through this, what sounds like collusion. One other pretty important excerpt that they link in this article, it's again, they're linked in the description of this video, but from a second article from The Intercept, they point out this instance where, under pressure from anti-monopolists, the House and Senate negotiators had recently tweaked the controversial Amazon amendment that was recently, but waved it through. They still waved it through nonetheless after tweaking it. And this was after a great amount of pressure. The provision that they added seeks to turn over federal procurement of commercial off-the-shelf items, a $53 billion market, to e-commerce portals. Amazon is the runaway leader in that space. Critics are saying that even with the modifications, the provision still favors the online retail giant, giving it a pathway to billions of dollars in new revenue. Amazon charges third-party sellers for the privilege of using its platform, anywhere between 15 and 20% of gross sales. Now, this seems pretty important. If the Pentagon procurement and potentially all federal procurement shifts predominantly to Amazon, this would collect billions of dollars annually without doing much of anything. In addition to hosting third-party sales, Amazon competes against those third parties with its in-house brands armed with superior data to know what gets purchased and what doesn't. Procurement officials will be susceptible to Amazon's usual suite of behavioral nudges, like adjusting search results or controlling what gets into the buy box. It's the top option it suggests for purchases, plus the whole concept of relying on web portals for everyday purchases gives away the government's leverage to buy commercial items in bulk at a superior price to the open market. They add on that Amazon hired the former chief acquisitions officer of the United States, Anne Rung, to run Amazon's business's public sector division, and has signed numerous local government contracts and federal agreements. The company has lobbied on the NDAA and the quote modernization of procurement process this year, according to federal disclosures. A second quote reads that this amendment looks like it will crown Amazon as an official gatekeeper to government procurement. That's what Lena Ann says of the Open Markets Institute. She adds on that government spending that was previously dispersed across hundreds of distinct companies will now instead all be channeled through one company, with Amazon collecting a tax. So further centralization of this sort of business. They're gaining further control of the market while having this open collusion, which is rarely talked about with the political establishment. All mainstream media coverage on Jeff Bezos seems to be extremely favorable. There's very little criticism of Jeff Bezos in the mainstream media for someone that has such a great amount of control in the business sector and an increasing amount of control over our own politicians as well. So this is definitely a serious issue. I will follow up as more information comes out. We're going to hear a lot more. There are going to be a lot more moves going on from Jeff Bezos. Again, they'll continue to be underreported, but I will follow up. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you could leave a like on this video, it's greatly appreciated, and subscribe to the channel. I will follow up shortly. Thanks for watching, everyone.